Nancy Pelosi for years has quietly installed her allies at the helm of Democratic groups in Congress, another show of her complete command over the House Democratic Caucus. But with a year of the woman set to bring a record number of Democratic women to the House next year, and the party primed to win the chamber in November, some female Democrats say they've had enough. A battle is underway for control of the Democratic Women's Working Group, a little-known caucus aiming to vastly boost its profile and influence in the next Congress. Pelosi and her allies deny the fight is about her. But the mini-rebellion is emerging as another test of the minority leader's newly strained hold on power, coming as dozens of House Democratic lawmakers and candidates have said they would not back her for Speaker, and a sign of a growing determination among the rank and file to decentralize the authority of Pelosi and her confidants. "Everything within our caucus needs to adjust with new members coming in," said Representative Pramila Jayapal, a Washington state Democrat and vice chair of the Progressive Caucus. "It's good for people to be infused with, if not challenged by, some of that new energy." In practical terms, the conflict comes down to whether to hold a full-fledged, open election to decide the Women's Caucus' next leader. It's a sore subject for a group that's been under Pelosi's thumb, as one lawmaker put it. 3 members of the group as well as a handful of staffers told Politico they are worried about a repeat of last year, when Pelosi's office told Representative Jackie Speier, Democrat California, to stand down in her bid for vice chair because the position was already promised to Representative Brenda Lawrence, Democrat Michigan, according to lawmakers and aides familiar with the situation. Lawrence is now vying for the top post, touting herself as Pelosi's pick. But her detractors say the congresswoman should have to win a legitimate election first. So, too, do at least 4 other Democrats who like Lawrence but think women in the group should determine their own fate. "I don't think that this should be hand-picked," Jayapal said. Another female Democrat who wants the group's current chairwoman, Representative Lois Frankel, Democrat Florida, to stay in the job, was more blunt. "What I'm looking at is, who's got the plan to take this to the next level? All I've heard so far is that Brenda is interested in this job. It doesn't matter if she wants the job. What is she going to do with it?" Frankel, who is considering a bid for a second term, agreed that a more transparent election is needed this year. She argued that she has built the group into an independent entity and wants the group members to decide their fate. "I think most of us would say it's not up to Pelosi," said Frankel, who at times has clashed with Pelosi over how to run the group, including over whether to hold hearings featuring women who've accused President Donald Trump of sexual misconduct. "We all respect Nancy Pelosi. I love her. I think she's fabulous. But she shouldn't appoint the leaders of the different caucuses. I'm absolutely for an election." Pelosi's spokesman, Drew Hamill, denied any involvement by the minority leader in the group's choice of leaders last time and said she doesn't intend to inject herself next year, either. She believes that the working group itself should handle its internal elections internally and has no plans to get involved, Hamill said. The leader is singularly focused on securing a Democratic House majority. But the push for a more open election process has clearly been ignited by a fear that Pelosi will anoint Lawrence as chairwoman. Indeed, Lawrence has been telling lawmakers that it's her turn to take over and suggested Pelosi backs her, according to multiple female Democrats. Another wrinkle: some in the Congressional Black Caucus, of which Lawrence is a member, are expected to lean on Pelosi to help Lawrence become chair. "This is not something we are involved in yet, but we will be," said a senior CBC lawmaker who backs Lawrence for chair of the Women's Caucus. The internal debate is heating up as the women's group seeks to elevate its status in the next Congress. It wants to rival the influence of the CBC or Hispanic Caucus, powerhouse factions within the House Democratic Caucus. Frankel is eyeing an ambitious agenda that could include pushing legislation on equal pay and sexual harassment protections. And the group last week unveiled the Political Action Committee, whose founders, notably, did not include Lawrence. Founded in 2013, the caucus served mostly as a messaging organ run by Pelosi loyalists for the first few years. It wasn't until Frankel took over early last year that the caucus gained real traction, multiple female lawmakers say. Frankel started hosting monthly member dinners on topics ranging from the #MeToo movement to women in the criminal justice system. The group also hosted hearings on paid family and medical leave and sexual misconduct in the Marine Corps. And they started taking field trips, including one to the Texas border to highlight Trump's controversial family separation policies. Its members want to take their work on these issues to the next level next year, especially if they control the House. Representative Judy Chu, Democrat California, envisions the chamber voting on a series of bills pushing back on what she called Trump's assault on women's rights. Women's reproductive rights are under attack right now, said Chu. It's critical to have a caucus that can be a voice for women. But first they need to deal with the leadership question. Representative Catherine Clark, D-Mass, said open leadership elections are critical to making members feel invested in the group. It's a great way to build interest in the caucus, Clark said, and to have people think about what they want to see and how they want to participate in shaping the group. Still, the matter is far from settled. Fears that Pelosi will put her thumb on the scale for Lawrence are causing ongoing tensions, according to multiple lawmakers and aides. When Frankel told Lawrence recently that she was thinking of running for chairwoman again, Lawrence admonished her, according to two sources familiar with the exchange. Lawrence declined to be interviewed for this article. In a statement, she said her primary focus is getting more women elected to Congress and supporting the Democratic plan, which is truly by the people and for the people. In years past, the group emailed leadership election ballots to members' offices, Frankel said. But the ballots were often missed or ignored, causing confusion among female Democrats about whether an election had even occurred. There's also been an assumption that the vice chair would ascend to chair in the following Congress, and that Pelosi would settle any disagreements. That's what happened last year. Spire sent cards to lawmakers on the House floor asking for their support for vice chair. According to several Democratic lawmakers and staffers, Spire was called into a meeting with Lawrence and Frankel, and subsequently told by Pelosi that the position had already been awarded to Lawrence. Pelosi's office denies this occurred. A senior Democratic aide said the idea to make Lawrence vice chair and create a new messaging position for Spire was Frankel's, not Pelosi's. Spire then had to decide whether to go along for the sake of unity, or to launch a campaign that would divide the group. She opted to back down. But several group members said stifling potential competition won't work this time. Just because we're women doesn't mean we can't run against each other, said one female Democratic lawmaker who asked not to be named to speak candidly. I have never seen any man back away from challenging another man if they want a position. Anybody can run. There is nothing wrong with that. That's what makes a caucus healthy, in my opinion. One issue hanging over Lawrence's bid for the job is the dismissal of her former chief of staff last year after Politico reported allegations that he sexually harassed female subordinates. Some lawmakers and aides say Lawrence has held a grudge against women who were critical of her top aide. But her supporters say that it would not be fair for the group to change how it chooses its chairwoman now, when she's next in line. Lawrence's backers extend beyond the powerful CBC. She has been inclusive and solicitous of her input, said Representative Nanette Berrigan, Democrat California. Plus, she added, Lawrence is a person of color, and that is a great thing because it brings a new perspective, she said. Frankel, for her part, bristled when asked about the tensions, dismissing them as political foolishness. She said Lawrence would be a very good steward to take over if it goes in that direction. I try to keep my focus on the mission, she said, and not on all these personalities.